there's just so much more that you can do once you know financial literacy.
It's fun.
It really is because
It's fun, dude.
you know how money's going to multiply. You know what you can leverage. You know what you can use the same dollar twice or in two different places at once, or
Yep.
however you want to put it,
Yep.
to go buy real estate, go
Yes.
buy, go buy the dream car,
Yes.
the dream GTR, go
Yes.
do whatever you want to go do, and live your life way bigger than the 9 to 5 grind, the having to work from 18 to 65. Like that doesn't have to be the norm. The people that we set up young are retiring at like 40, 50 years old and still have, 20, 30, 40 years, or at this point, maybe even longer
Yeah.
to continue, living and not have to worry about running out of money.
What's up, everyone? I'm excited for a new podcast episode, Real Estate versus Technology Unleashed. This is actually our first podcast episode. I'm excited to bring on who we have in the new lab. We got sparkly gold on the wall. My wife had this idea to do sparkly gold, so here we are doing sparkly gold, and we have someone very special on the show today with GFI Global. He's also mortgage, and it's Bryce. AK used to be the lending giant. And now they're just crushing it. So, Bryan, welcome to the show, Real Estate First Technology. He has triplets. We met over Car Talk, and he has a race car if you want it. I don't know if he's going to part ways with it or not. And I don't know. And he got a break. He's like, hey, you want to, grandparents want to take the triplets? And so, how's that going, man? 4 kids. Welcome on the show. Dude, I can only imagine like bandwidth. I mean,
Oh
how are
man.
you running the business and the bandwidth and all the things with,
Yeah, the biggest thing for us has been leverage for sure.
yeah,
Between bringing on 2 new assistants
okay.
and mastering the time management has been the biggest thing between babies
Yeah.
and older 2 kids
Now,
and
does the older ones help?
somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah. I still try to get them to change like diapers, and they're like, I'm okay. I'm like,
No, we're not doing that.
no. They're like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, you're gonna eventually have to. So
Yeah, it's gonna come for you. So now or later, might
yeah,
as well just get ready now.
yeah. Rip the band-aid off now.
Yeah, for
So
sure. That's awesome, man. And congratulations, because yeah, I know it's like going from the mortgage side, and we were talking off air. So you've been out here about a year and a half, and now being here a year and a half, it was interesting how you told me that a lot of the individuals back, Michigan,
Montana.
Montana,
Hmm.
um, don't want to use you anymore. They're just weird about it.
It's a weird thing where they're kind of behind the times, is what I'll put it as. It's just like if you're not
Ah,
there, they don't want to use you because they
yeah,
like using like local people, local banks, local thing, like everything's local, which I 100% agree with. Like to
yeah.
use those, there's a lot of limiting factors to that. If they have the control over that, they can all adjust the rates at the same time. And I saw it when I was there. They'd all
Mm,
raise them within the same day, and then I'd be like, well, we're still down here. Like let's work. And so that's where I built my name, was up there. But
okay.
moving away to be closer to family, for we were gonna have kids, and we were like, oh, we're gonna have two. Well, we need to have grandma and grandpa nearby,
Yeah.
and then ended up having a third. So
Wow.
the girls split, so we have 2 girls and a boy.
Wow. And so that's going to be here locally in Arizona. Your wife's parents, or your parents are already here?
My parents.
Your parents are already here. Okay. So it's a no-brainer. So then two turned into five?
Yeah, two turned into five. Basically, yeah, yeah. It was a late night surprise when we went to the hospital to find out that
Oh my God.
so we had to do IVF. So
Okay.
we thought we were losing them, or like that they didn't stick,
Yeah.
which was to be expected. It
Yeah.
could be. It's been almost 10 years since my wife had kids and everything else, and so we went in at like midnight, and they came back, and the doctor's like, "You want to know how many?" And
What?
we're like, "2." Like, don't tell us we're Octomom or anything like that. And he holds up 3 fingers, and we went, oh crap! Like, what are we gonna do? Like, thank goodness we already moved and we're established here and everything else, because it would have been terrible
Wow.
doing it the other way, of finding out we have kids and then going, man, we have to move, we have to do this and do that. So we're super thankful. They're hanging out with grandma and grandpa right now. So
Let's talk about a curveball, bro. The man upstairs said, "Oh, you want another?
yeah,
Here's three."
I somewhat so there's two people I that like I would say cursed us in this
Really?
aspect of things. So a friend of ours in Montana who was my assistant coach for coaching our kids' soccer teams.
Okay.
He's like, "Oh, you guys are gonna have three kids," and I was like, "Don't put that on me. Like,
Oh shit.
don't do that." And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." And then the second person is my grandmother, who's no longer here with us, but
God bless.
she actually passed away the day that we moved here,
What?
which was crazy. We knew that the time was coming,
Yeah.
and she like held on until I got to see her and say my words, and then 6 hours later was gone.
Wow.
Which I mean, blessing in disguise. At least got to say goodbye and everything. But
Yeah.
she all the way through, even through all like the crazy like confusion and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
always said we were gonna have three kids. And the ones that split are are girls, obviously,
Yeah.
and they have red hair like my grandmother. They
What?
smile like my grandmother,
What?
and some of their like motions or like how they react to things right now is like my grandmother. It's that scary.
Wow. She like came back and she's like in like three babies to haunt you or something like that. Like that is
Mhm.
crazy.
It's pretty cool though. It's cool. I get to
That is
I
super
see
cool.
them and I see her at the same time, so it's even better.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
what a cool story. And definitely, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. We have one, and we were trying to have another, and it's like if it was in our cars, cool. And it's just focusing on business and relocating out of California and all other things. And so it just didn't happen. And so now we're at a point where like, do we adopt? Do we foster care? Like, because we have the
Yeah.
means, why not?
Yeah.
And I went older, so my wife's I'm not gonna say here publicly, she might get mad at me, but she's like, she's like, that's sailed for me. I'm over it. But I'm just glad that your wife's healthy, they're healthy,
Mhm.
especially not going the natural way. You had to do that.
Yeah.
It's a little different. But yeah, man, that's cool. And then they get to grow up in a situation where, like, I mean, do you come from like an entrepreneur family, or like, are you the first to be going down this road? I mean,
Yeah, so my upbringing, so my mom was in real estate for 26 years
okay.
up in Seattle, Washington area. And then my dad always had some sort of other business going on while he had his
Hmm.
day job or extra side stuff. So he worked for United for 24 years.
Wow.
Um,
Got those hookup on flights?
Not anymore,
Oh
man,
man.
not anymore. I wish, because we used to fly to like Hawaii for like 20 bucks.
What?
So yeah, it was
That's
not.
sick.
It was always nice. We'd get the red eye flight. We'd get there and be all set, and then we'd fly back the next next week or two.
Dude, that's
But
badass.
after like that, we moved from like the greater Seattle area to a
Okay.
small town in the mountains of Washington called Leavenworth, Washington.
Hmm.
Little German themed town, pretty
Really?
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, we bought what was called the Fudge Hut at the time,
Hmm.
just to kind of get in there and get established in
Yeah.
downtown. And then we opened up our bakery, and
Wow.
we had a bakery for 15 years. So we went from that and that went through. And I was 22 when they retired from that.
Wow.
So yeah, they had that for a while. It was pretty cool.
That's really cool that you had the opportunity to go through all the things with just, I mean, seeing the hustle.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like innately already in you because you kind of, yeah, your dad had the full-time job. I can see where you got into mortgage because your mom, and then the fact that like the hustle was always just real, like doing whatever it took.
Yeah.
Like now you have it, and so as you think about like your life and growing and GFI and all the possibilities, because obviously like you're talking, there's some big money you can be making and some huge life changing, things that so what does your future even look like? Like what does that look like for you?
Man, it's kind of surreal and hard to even like fathom because
Right?
it's that big of an opportunity. Having a company that believes in their people so strongly
Yeah.
and building them on the personal side of things is really cool. So you get all that, but then you get the family side of it, and then they're really good about, you're making sure you're doing good and making good money and supporting you and
Mm,
stuff like that. So, but the opportunity with GFI is just
yeah.
massive, especially in 2030 is the last baby boomer gets born on December 31st of
Wow.
2030. So, or goes into retirement, I should say.
Okay.
And with that, like that's when we want to go public with the company. So that's going to be massive numbers have been thrown out right now,
I can imagine.
and you're just like, wait, what? And it's like you talk about it and you talk about it with like our teams and leadership and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and that's a different conversation versus you talk about it with your wife and you're like, she's like, wait, what? Like, because numbers, she's in dental, so like numbers aren't her thing,
Yeah.
and understanding that. So like you break it down even further, and she's like, I can't even imagine. And I was like, well, do we at the time, beginning of this year, was like, do we switch? Like,
Yeah.
do we continue going with, our mentors and stuff?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, there's no doubt, like go for it and keep going with
Wow.
it. So it was pretty cool.
Dude, that's awesome. I got to say, first and foremost, like, congratulations, man. And to be in that situation is huge. And anyone who's viewing and listening out there, I think it's very important to celebrate your wins and also other people's wins.
Yeah.
And that's one way to expand and have more wealth and abundance. And I will say that I'm grateful to see that you have the support that you have to like get where you're going to go with that process, because a lot of I'm on the opposite end. It's a lot of just on my shoulders.
Mhm.
And so like very similar, we can get into details about GFI and kind of how I saw like the guys event, you guys all got together with the houseboats and just like how they just really pour into you all. I know health is a big thing coming up for you, and you have some goals there too we can talk about later. And I'm the same way with my team. It's like, it's what's their goals? Where do you want to go? Okay, here's our clients. This is their goals. This is where they want to go. And then like we'll take care of the company last. The company will get what it needs after we take care of our team and clients. And health, spiritual, it's mental, physical, spiritual is one thing we really drive home.
Mhm.
And that's awesome that you have a brotherhood,
Yeah.
of people that all support you in that arena. So really quick, so mortgage side, and then you're doing mortgages, so you weren't getting much business on that side, and then you found yourself like stumbling upon like this financial services
Kinda.
kind
Yeah.
of. How
Yeah.
did it even come about?
So when I was in Montana still,
Okay.
I saw Bryce, who at the time was the lending
Yeah,
giant.
how did you even meet him?
It's funny, it's a DM on Instagram. We both have the screenshot in our phone because when we go public, that's going to be like the thing that like connected us, which is super cool.
Go watch Bryce episode Lending Giant. He's live real estate first tech. Go check it out.
Absolutely. And so he at the time we were talking about, I said, hey, like great content, man, keep it up. And he's like, hey,
Yeah.
like let's connect. I was like, cool. Like so we jumped on Zoom for like I think we had it booked for like 30 minutes, and it was like 4 hours later we were still on Zoom.
Are you serious?
Yeah. My
Wow.
wife had came home, my kids that came home, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just talking with Bryce." Like it was my like best friend at the time, and everything, and
She doesn't know who this is. Like,
yeah,
what?
they had no clue. And so fast forward 6 months later, he was like, "Hey, I'm starting this branch out in Phoenix, and you're moving out here. Like, do you want to join in? Like, do you want us to help? Get it off the ground floor, everything else?"
Yeah.
And so he started with All Western Mortgage is who we have the branch with
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
who we work with, and they're fantastic company.
And
But
is that like a subsidiary of like Neil Home and all those guys, right?
yeah, so Neil works has a branch with All Western as well.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, Neil and Arjun both have their thing going on with All Western. A lot of people don't see that branded on their side because their brands are so big personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they're All Western Mortgage, and there's a few other big names out there that are with All Western. And but yeah, I mean we got the branch going, and then us meeting and starting the branch and joining in, we wanted. He was like, "Hey, like I want to introduce you to my mentor, Florio," and I was like, "Cool, like I like what you got going on. Like, of course I'm gonna like this other guy." And he's like, "Hey, like we." I don't think you understand the impact you can make with financial services and mortgages in the same conversation.
Mm.
And it was like the bells rang, like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, like because I was just thinking at the time, like, okay, we're moving, I got to get established with more realtors down here
Yeah.
and partners and things like that. And I was like, wait a second, like I can mash these two together, and transition from being a transactional business with clients of here's a loan, here's some debt, go from there, see you in a year, to how do we transform somebody's life completely in their financial aspect of things. So not only in the present, but the future in their
Yeah.
life as well. So we help with the estate planning when we work with a mortgage client. We help protect their assets, get life
Okay.
insurance. The estate planning is a huge one for us because the norm has been like, oh, you got to go to probate if you pass away and to get the house
Mm.
changed, which
Yeah.
is not something that that shouldn't be the norm. You
Yep.
should have it in a trust
Yep.
and transfer it over without the government being involved in any of your business.
No, 100%. I agree. And I think the biggest thing is from my understanding of 10 years in the real estate industry and meeting like, I don't know, over like 15,000 agents now and
Hmm.
serving 6,000. And our aspiration is 15,000 agents, $300 million exit,
Mhm.
12 million a month, 144 million a year in the next 8 years. And so you meet these agents, and here's some cliffhangers for you to take notes on. And it's like they don't think about the fact that it's like I love what you just said there. It's not just about the fact that you're getting someone, here's $500,000 debt for the next 30 years.
Yep.
It's actually an opportunity for you to look at like how do you want to leverage the home. Before we got on the show, I talk about this house specifically. We leverage it for there's two Airbnbs on the property, and then we're going to do on this side an ADU, and then we rent a room because we do a lot of traveling. So then Julia watches our cats and takes care of the house. We just got back from the Philippines like 3 weeks ago, and that's just one say case scenario. And I love how you are helping them plan for so much more because you've already built know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And once they bought once, they're going to buy again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing for us, like not only my mortgage business, but
Mm-hmm.
the other loan officers now that we've helped establish this into their business is now instead of calling and going, hey, like, how's the house? How's the rate? How's the payment? It's, hey, you've gotten to know them enough and helped them
Mm,
so thoroughly that you're like, how's grandma? How's grandpa? How's this? How's that? Like, it's a way different conversation than, hey, like, do you want to refinance right now? Like that just nobody wants to be felt like they've been sold. And that's how a lot of people feel when they buy a house or, cars or anything else like that. It's just
yes.
if you're being sold, you're going to have a sour taste in your mouth, whether you like what you got or you didn't. So now we're adding so much more services to where it's financial education, it's
Mm,
protection, it's planning, it's how to leverage, it's how to, be your own bank and borrow from yourself to maybe go build the ADU or go buy a rental property or
yeah.
things like that we also help them out with. But then how do we pay back themselves to where when they want to
Mm,
get to retirement age or they want to go buy another property or things like that, the funds are still there. And while they're using them, which is cool how we have it set up, is while the funds are used, it's a loan from what your cash value is in that policy
yeah.
to now have funds in two different places growing at the same time
Yep.
and then paying back yourself when you cash out, refinance that property or anything like that.
I love that. I love that. That's super huge. We had uh what was it? He's coming to the Mr. Burr. We had
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Burr on, so go check out his episode as well. He talks about infinite banking, the whole nine, which obviously we're gonna get more of that here as well. There's just one thing that I wanted to shine a little bit of light on, and then we can go deeper in what you were just talking about, was the fact that like all Western mortgage isn't even something that anyone has in the front of their mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're talking real estate, right? Real estate versus technology. And you think about all the technology has been leveraged with like say shorts, reels, right? This podcast, and then you have Arjun Mortgage. He's a good friend of mine. Shout out. You have Dean, and so you have these individuals, and then like their faces and their brand awareness is built around them personally
Mm-hmm.
more than it is like say the all Western Mortgage or could be whatever it is. And so I think a lot of agents out there, whether you're mortgage side or real estate side, I think that it's very important to think
Yeah.
it's not so much about your brokerage, it's more important about you and how you're putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you talked a little bit about that. And I was just like, all right,
Yeah.
just cliffhanger.
Yeah, the like personal branding as far as with that, like it's to me like yeah, like I have a GFI shirt and hat on and like that's because it's like my biggest thing is promoting that as much as I
Of
can.
course.
But in the instance of things like somebody's not going to work with GFI. They're going to work with me
Yeah.
and I'm going to leverage the tools and trainings and technology that GFI has. So it's the same in real estate. Like I know real estate agents that change brokerages like it's changing a diaper every day. Like that's just how it is. But
Yeah.
they have a brand where they can just kind of pivot and move around. Where there's
Mm.
some that they're with a brokerage and that's what they're promoting and branding and everything else like that, which is okay.
Yeah.
But in the instance of things, are they what the client is working with, or are they working with you?
Yes. It's like when people do like those, it's like, hi, I'm Jane with so and so Realty. We're at 123 Main Street. And nowadays it's like you say none of that.
Yeah.
No one cares. It's like, I want to show you an amazing property that you could raise your beautiful family in. Imagine the possibility of having your boat in the backyard because it overlooks the lake and yada, yada, yada. And then after you build the value,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, I am with who.
Hmm.
And, I'd rather have people ask me questions.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
are you with? Like, how does it work? You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And so, because you never know, like a lot of these freaking bigger companies too, you go to the actual company website
Hmm.
and there's all these other agents, all these other people, and then you almost might lose an opportunity of working with someone because you're bringing them to Sotheby's International Realty. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fine line for some people where you have like obviously compliance and things. You show who you work for
Yeah.
on the very very front edge of it. You got to have your own brand. You have to
Hmm.
show yourself. You have to build yourself. Absolutely.
I love that. So let's get a little deeper into the subject of what you were talking about. So I'm looking to buy a home and I find you for getting a mortgage. Walk me through for anyone who's watching, and this is good leverage for you too, because now you could just cut, this
Yeah.
could be your own little playbook, whatever. And I'm asking you this, so it's different than I feel like it's always better when someone asks you instead of like you sitting there in front of a camera and telling them.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want to get a mortgage.
Hmm.
I got a budget from 750,000 to $1 million. I don't know. Maybe I have a retirement, some money aside, whatever else. Like, how would you approach me from the perspective of combining? Maybe there's a mortgage rep listening to this, or maybe even real estate professionals listening to this. Like, how would they navigate a conversation to
Hmm.
be able to blend the two
Yeah.
so it's seamless? And what does it look like for you?
Yeah. So for a lot of us, for especially our branch and stuff, we've
Hmm.
embodied this a lot. And when normally a referral is given to you or somebody finds you, it's usually like, hey, most loan officers are like, hey, like here's my application link. When you fill it out, we'll have a conversation,
Mm.
which is fine in most instances of things.
Yeah.
And that's really where it starts is having application and the data and going from there. But for us, it's a long discovery call of like what's going on with your life, what's going on, where is this home, is this a stepping stone home, is this a forever home, is this a property that you're going to keep for 3 years or is it 20 years?
Mm.
There's it's a different conversation than hey, like here's an application link, fill it out, send me the documents, and we'll tell you what our best rate is. Like
Agreed.
that's a transactional business. Having the conversation like how we have it is very transformational, and it almost catches people off guard of like, oh my goodness, you're not going to tell me what my rate is right now, or you're asking about like how many kids I have or dogs or or
Yes.
what the future looks like, not just what's going on right now. And that's really on our first discovery call with a client is that. And then yes, we go, hey, we're going to send you an application link, we're going to send you a documents list, we're going to need this stuff. And for us, it's a priority for us to have everything usually fairly quickly because then we
I
can,
love that.
if we the faster we get documents and we get applications and the data and everything like that, we prioritize the ones that are getting it to us quicker because we know that they need to start moving.
Yeah.
Where when sometimes a client's like, yeah, I'm looking, but and then you send them the link and like 3 months from now they fill it out, like okay, like you had 3 months, let's fill this out. Like if we had 3 months ago, we wouldn't have to wait, do everything in 24 hours.
Exactly.
So the earlier you get things done or get things going, the better. But once we do all the data collection and the application and get the files squared away and get them pre-approved, we do another call with them. And instead of doing a phone call like usually the discovery call is, we actually invite them on Zoom and say, hey, we're going to show you scenarios and we're going to play with the data and we're going to show you
Mm.
what's going on with the market and where we're kind of seeing it going. But in the same instance of the conversation, we go, hey, we noticed that you have an IRA, we have an old 401k, and your kids currently have a 529 plan, for instance. We go,
Now, is
hey,
this all in the credit or this
no,
is in the
this
application?
is an application with the
Ah,
assets. So what a lot of people
okay, okay.
don't realize is as loan officers, you can't hide anything from us.
That's true.
You can't. Like you're in
You're already
order
opening the door.
the door's wide open at that
Yeah.
point. So you see their assets, you see what they're going on, you see what their
Ah,
you even see what their income is, so you can make sure they have insurable like what their insurable need is
yeah.
to make sure that they're protected and have that income replacement if God forbid something does happen. So we have all that. So as we're doing their which is nice for me right now is I'm leveraged highly on the mortgage side. Have an awesome sales manager Eli Hernandez. Shout out.
Shout out. Let's go. Let's
He
go.
he he helps me a lot on the putting things together on the mortgage side of stuff. So then I
Got
can
it.
focus on the impactful GFI stuff and things like that. And then we come together in that Zoom and go, hey, this is what we're doing. I also have my mom who's now retired. We'll go like that. She helps me on the front end as an assistant in the mortgage side too. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. Okay.
So it's a teamwork. It's not
Yeah.
it's not everything on your own. But when we sit down for that Zoom and we go through all that, now it's, hey, did you know, like, what's the goal with this old 401k that you have? And they're like, oh, I just have it sitting there and I'll grow it, until I get retired. And we're like, okay, like, can you send us a quick statement or like just take a screenshot of one real quick? And they'll send it to us if we don't already have it.
Yeah.
And from there we go, hey, like this is what you're doing. We have the tools and the technology now to analyze based off historical data to show them what it's going to be at that account value
Mm.
when they're at like that 60-65 mark.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we show them what we can do with asset protection and qualified rollovers to show them the
Mm.
comparison, not from our numbers on a piece of paper, but actual
Yeah.
technology. So how much more that's going to be by consistently taking steps forward in their financial picture instead of 5 steps forward to take 2 steps backwards.
Yeah.
So that's where the protecting the income and the asset protection comes from, is always taking steps forward in it.
I love that. And you can navigate in so many different ways with that. Because you
Oh,
literally could
so
be like,
much.
all right, so we talked about this, and you said that you want to be in this house for the next, 8 to 10 years
Mm-hmm.
because your goal is to actually build a house, or you want to get a larger home, or you want to
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? You want to get a ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're looking at, like, I can imagine just in my mind, and this isn't even, I don't even do this, but
Mm-hmm.
just because of what I do in my line of work, and I can just like imagine you
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, we can easily be able to put you into this IUL, then you could actually put what you have in this 401k in here. And then by the time that's 8 to 10 years that you want to get this ranch, you can actually pull out this lump sum, which will then afford you to be able to get this and pay for it,
Yeah.
maybe cash or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you had cash flow from the property, depending on what and they want to do in their goals, then you can
Yeah.
pay yourself back instead of paying the bank. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. We're having those conversations all the time of, by this mark where their goal is, you're going to have X, Y, and Z amounts. And so instead of,
mm,
having to sell the primary house that you have now to go buy or build the next one, let's just take this and use the rental income from this to then fund the policy again that you
mm,
just used to go buy this other house or build this other place. And that's it's just the layers just keep stacking.
wow,
So
wow,
and I kind of call it like the Christmas tree, like it just keeps stacking and coming into a point where you're when you get to the tip of the spear or the top of the Christmas tree, because Christmas is coming up, we'll relate it to that.
yeah,
But that's when you're gonna, retire and your golden years are gonna happen and you're gonna be with grandkids and things like that, to where now you, instead of having to worry like, man, do I have enough income for this month? Like there's so many products out there that have guaranteed income for life.
mm,
There's, we can fluctuate the income. There's so many different things out there that can happen for retirement that people just don't even know of. And that's
yeah.
what the financial literacy comes into play.
Yeah, dude, that's super powerful. And I gotta say, congratulations, man. That's awesome to be able to serve people in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's been for so long, it's like, what do you do? I sell real estate. What do you do? I do mortgages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's ways, and I think that it's smart to make sure that there's like the compound effect. And
Mm-hmm.
it's smart where, like, say, I'll give you an example, like, because we were talking about Andy Elliott. So shout out Andy Elliott. He's not far from here, probably about 20, 30 minutes. And so he is using now his brand equity
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do other brand deals,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to differentiate and be able to be in different places, but he's still the same core competency, which is like mindset and like fitness and sales mastery training. And so it's super smart that now if you're out there wanting to do more than just be singly focused with real estate, I can imagine real estate professionals, mortgage professionals, this is kind of why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Downturn in the market, election year, buyer's market, interest rates are a little bit high. I mean, we have two flips just sitting.
Yeah.
I got 200,000 plus locked up for 2,500 a month. I'm like, okay, when is this gonna ever just like hello? So then you could have passive residual income from your past clients that you don't make anything off anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Renewal income, if it's like insurance based
Yeah.
product and things like that, like, yeah, it's not as much as the original,
Yeah.
commission obviously, but if it's passive income and stuff like that, nobody turns an eye to that. And
Never.
you can have, there's an awesome guy named Greg Cap, built a $2 million residual income per year business
Really?
in the insurance space, over a 20-year period. And from all that, he was like, yeah, I'm done, I'm retired, cool. He was actually the spiritual mentor for the CEO of GFI, Eric Olson. Still is.
Really?
Oh yeah, very big story with it. We could probably spend 3 hours on that one topic, but
Yeah.
um, he basically came out of retirement for us at GFI and said, "Hey, like I want to be the spiritual leader of the company," and he's absolutely 100% that. Like
Wow.
it's weird when we were at, you mentioned the Shasta trip
Yeah.
earlier. When we were at Lake Shasta, it was the first time I got to, like, I've seen him in like different conferences and stuff like that. First time I've been able to see him in person, and he holds me on the shoulder, says a prayer, talks to me about things like triplets. I just had the triplets like 2 weeks prior to that.
Wow.
Thank you, wife, for letting me go to that trip. um,
Uh,
but so wife was at home for 5 days with them, but he talked, he didn't talk at me, he talked like directly through me. And I walked back to my mentor at the time and I was like, hey, I just talked to Greg Cap, and like I feel like I just like, he ripped everything that was terrible that was going on in my life or stressors and just like washed it away. It was so cool.
wow.
Very, very cool person to meet. If anybody gets a chance, you have to go meet him.
That's interesting. And yeah, I like the quote of like life happens for you or to you or life happens through you. And
Mm-hmm.
it reminded me of that quote when you said like how he did that. And it's cool too, because there's something to be said, and we won't go too far into this topic because I do want to get deeper into GFI and the transition and the owners and what happened with that. And I'll leave it with this is there's something to be said in regards to the process of just like once you get to a point of income where you don't have to trade your time because like you work the 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
trade your time for money, and then you still kind of trade your time for money, especially when you're trying to help buyers and sellers. You don't have standard operating procedures and key performance indicators, and you're not passively prospecting or doing things like you see like Levi Elastics of the world, one of our clients, or you see Adam Hancock. I did $300 million off of freaking passively prospecting on YouTube and built a whole entire team. Then you get to a point like your spiritual mentor with GFI, and like now with 2 million a year, he doesn't have to like. There is no more. I need. It is just like I am, and you
Mm-hmm.
could just like be free. I can imagine the freedom you get from that because then you're like, I can buy whatever I want, do whatever I want. The bills are paid. I'm good. Everything's just residually coming in. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's a financial freedom aspect definitely for that, and it's cool to see, and
Wow.
it's cool to see at that level, but it's also cool to see it when we help them on the client side of it too. Because
Yeah.
there's a really close friend and client of mine, that basically was like, hey, I have X, Y, and Z amount, it was a couple $1 million, and said, hey, like I just want to retire. And I was like, he's like, is it possible? And I talked with, he had talked with several financial advisors that said, nope, like you're gonna have to still work. We can only guarantee, it was like $5,000 a month in income for the first year, and then after that, like you're gonna have to go back to work.
What the heck?
It was very funky, very weird dealing with that, but he was like, "Can I retire?" And we retired him, his wife, and now they spend time with their daughter at home.
Wow. So break that down just a little bit for anyone who's listening so they can kind of put the numbers together just briefly. It doesn't have to be exact numbers because that's, I mean, obviously we're not saying any names specifically
Mhm.
here, but what do the numbers look like for someone out there that maybe is in a similar situation that potentially wants to retire?
Yeah, so they had about little over 2.5 million from an accident settlement that they had,
Okay.
and wanted to retire. His back was broken basically, and things like that.
Shit.
So they talked to several different financial advisors. They said $5,000 a year or per month for the first year is all we could give you.
Hmm.
After that, we're not guaranteeing anything. You may have to go back to work at some points, depending on how the market goes and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And he knew that I was in financial services and stuff,
Yeah.
and mortgage, and he just happened to reach out and like reconnect and was like, hey, like this is what I want to do. Is it possible? So then he went from not being able to have $5,000 a month, in income, to having about $120,000 a year guaranteed for life, that he'll have for forever. And they're 30. He turns 34 here soon. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, retiring in your 30s from a car accident with $2.5 million.
Dude, I mean, that's pretty awesome. So, for listening, that's something that you or someone you know is going through. This is definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
So, let's go a little bit deeper because GFI is like, how old are they? It's really like a new, it's not new, but it's a new organization that was just rebranded or established. How old are they now?
We're in our 8th month right now.
So just eight
So,
months. And so he
mhm.
came from, because I saw, so is there two founders, one founder?
There's several,
There's several founders because
several.
like the main, I feel like the main front man, I follow him on social media. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's always like on the videos and hyping things up.
Yeah, so there's Eric Olson
Yeah, okay.
who is the CEO now, and started it. His wife was the one that kind of on the back end was starting things up while we were at the previous company. He had a company within another firm.
Mm.
We were previous with WFG,
Yeah,
and
WFG. Yeah,
and
okay.
and we felt that, and he felt definitely he saw a lot more of it being at like the higher up in the company. You,
Yeah,
you see what you hear the conversation behind closed doors and things like that. Felt that the company wasn't doing the best for the agents.
mm.
And that was not just him, not just his wife, but many people that obviously helped join it and start up GFI.
Yeah,
Said that, why can't we do this? And it wasn't that they never tried to make the other company, be better. It
yeah,
was just there was too much corporate involved.
yeah.
you know
Politics.
there's different ownership layers, and it would have taken, not that they could ever not be what GFI is now. It would just take 15 years to get there.
Yeah,
And tomorrow's not promised. Let's get it fixed today and let's move forward.
yep.
So when they started the new company, it was supposed to be a beta test of
Mm.
like 50 people, just to
Wow.
like get the bugs worked out, everything else like that. It got leaked out of like, hey, like there's this other company that's starting, and then it got brought back into, you know, with Eric, that Eric's wife was part of it, and there's some other people, and
Mm.
then you got all the corporate drama on top of it. So then they had to be done with that, be done with the previous company, and it went from 50 people that was supposed to be a beta test till August of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I remember right, in August of this year, because of everything that happened, we had 22,000 agents that some came from the old company, but a lot of them came from all other companies when they finally realized, oh my goodness, they took the best of the best from every other company out there and made it better and left everything that was terrible at those companies and left it away.
Wow, dude, that's awesome, dude. Let's go, man. Congratulations, GFI, on that. No, there's something to be said about like doing good business. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Smith, and so we're getting ready to ramp up. Like we're organic, we don't run ads and all that shit. So
Yeah.
we have referral partners in the space of like passive prospecting, whatever, and like
Mm-hmm.
we pretty much like anyone that's in like the passive prospecting YouTube game, like they're our customer.
Yeah.
And so, which is so grateful for. And so now moving forward, like, all right, so we want to do this intro plan, right? And anyone that knows business, you kind of do like a little something to just here's a little something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Get a little taste. And then if you like the taste, then you want some more, right? So there's samples, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be our sample product. And I said, Smith, I don't want to just like have people just on this intro
Mm-hmm.
$1,000, $99 a month because you could just sell it a million times and make a bunch of cash. I said, I want to, and this is I'll just whoever's watching, you're gonna get a little freaking inside behind the scenes thing here. Um, ClickFunnels. Okay. So ClickFunnels, what do? They reward people that utilize the service, and depending on the income they bring in, you get plaques and all types of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one company out there, Agent Fire, Luxury Presence, the names go on and on and on,
Mm-hmm.
that gives incentive programs. So I'm like, what if we did incentive programs for agents out there, mortgage professionals, people that want to utilize our services to go from the intro plan, start, ramp, and scale, right? Because those are our three programs. And so I was talking to him, I said, I don't want people just to be in just the one thing. I want to, again, that's what the premise is of what I'm working on too, because there's something to be said about doing business righteously and doing business the right way and doing business because you care and not just because you want just to bring in money. And that's where, like we talked offline
Mm-hmm.
about one of our biggest customers, like it just very disheartening when you don't get the feedback that you wish you would receive to then achieve the success that you wish. And then of course, when there's, a client that we had that has 3,500 agents on a downline, you're like, there's a lot of opportunity there to help us get closer to the $15,000 goal that we wish to have.
Mhm.
And hey, the man upstairs said that that's not the plan. It is what it is. Totally fine.
Mhm.
But I love that about you guys and how, and it gets me fired up. It makes me be like, shit, like, I want to open up some policies. Maybe we'll talk offline, and
That's what I'm here for.
we're doing some business live with you here on Real Estate versus Technology Unleashed. No, it's why not, right or not? But that definitely sets a huge difference apart from those that are just all about the transactional side and just getting the business done. Hey, congratulations to you and everything else, but are you really happy?
Hmm.
Are you really building deeper connections? Can you call up your clients and have a conversation with someone you need to have a conversation with, or go on vacation with them, or whatever else? And good for you, man, for changing people's lives and then giving them the education. And that's where I think you and I connect too, because like I'm big about education first. And so I met this guy today, agent over out of San Francisco. That's where I'm from. And so he's just doing some research. I'm like, oh, awesome. Glad you found us first to do some research even before he picks his brokerage.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing that we like to do, is just educate first. Here's all the information. Here's the competitors. Go do your research. Totally fine. And then make an educated decision.
Yeah, yeah, it's education first, sales second.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly. And then that way, anyone who's listening and viewing, like you'll be able to go a lot further with that, because that's where referrals come in too.
Yeah, you get. I think when we went from being transactional to transformational, I would say on average our referrals from past clients and everything 3 to 5x
Wow.
per transaction that we're or thing that we're helping them out with, and
That's
and
amazing.
that's where business becomes fun because you're like, oh, I helped them, and they, oh, how do you know so and so, and you just
Hmm.
you get a deeper connection off of that because
That's huge.
if in the United States mostly, and it's kind of anywhere, is finances aren't talked about.
No,
Literacy in financials isn't talked about. It
no,
isn't even taught.
no.
So if they can, you have to build up a trust and a connection with the person before they go, hey, here's $2.5 million that I just got, and only my parent, like the parent, like their parents knew about it, obviously,
Yeah.
and the financial advisors that they talked with. But I had worked with that guy previous. I knew their kid. I knew his wife and things like that. And they're like, normally we wouldn't talk about this, but because
Mm-mm.
we know you, we trust you, we like you, and we want to work with you. Here's what's actually like. Here's the full portfolio. Literally
Wow.
pulled it up on the screen. I took a screenshot. They said, go figure out what you can do. I said, cool. Like I'll see you in 24 hours.
See, and that makes a big difference between the company that he brought the information to and said, "Oh, 5,000 for the first year," because in my mind, there's probably something in the back of their mind that they are working in their favor so they can get a big old commission. And that's where, I stopped selling cars. I sold cars for a number of years, and I was tired of pounding people
Yep.
and going down that road. And it just didn't feel right to me to get a good commission based off doing that. Shout out Andy Elliott now. I know he's a car sales guy. I don't know if he pounded people or not. I have no idea. I haven't had that kind of conversation with him. But I know on my side, I'm just like, I just didn't feel right about it. And I can imagine now, like,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine what was going through that person's mind when
Mm-hmm.
there was just like, how much is this other company trying to fuck me?
Yeah, they had those conversations with us a lot.
Yeah.
It was like an 8 week spread of one meeting a week with more questions and things like that. There's one point I want to make to what you said.
Yeah.
When you're being sold stuff and things like that, you get like the commission breath, or
Mm-hmm.
you get that you feel sold, so you feel like you feel kind of like cheated on, kind of.
Yep.
So what's crazy about that is if you're in mortgage, if you're in real estate, if you're a financial advisor, if you're in any other sales position that does not have what we'll call a rollback or a crawlback of your commission, that's where we're so highly regulated that if we do something bad for a client and they feel sold, or they feel anything like that, or like like when we get paid commission, we get advance a 12-month commission instead of getting paid every month that they do things.
Interesting.
And they do that in home and auto, they do that in
Yeah.
health and everything else. If and even in those, like, you can get crawlbacks, but it's very small. In our side of financial services, when we get advanced 12 months of commission, if that client doesn't take ownership in it and trust it and believe in it and everything else, then we didn't do our job right.
Mm.
And if they cancel, then our commission goes away. We have to pay that back. And
Wow.
most companies don't operate like that, or most industries don't operate like that. So when you're a financial advisor, they have their place. They're just not in my place. So they
Mm.
they they get paid a commission based off of the funds in the account. We get paid from the providers that we help the clients put the funds into that fit their scenario. So it's a
Mm.
much different conversation because one of the higher questions that we get is how do you guys get paid? Well, we get paid a commission from the provider, and we don't touch any of the money that's in your funds or that is going towards that,
Mm.
so that you guys get the best results. So it ends up
Mm.
being a win for the client, a win for the provider because now they're helping that family, but now it's a win for me because I get paid to help that family do the best that they can.
Wow, that's awesome. I think that let that be a take note, rewind, listen to that again opportunity, because I think anyone who's listening, doesn't matter if reach out to you, Jeff, what like or another company, ask them how are they getting paid. And I like that because that definitely correlates with like I mean, take it into layman's terms, right? Like
Mhm.
you're training a dog,
Yep.
sit, roll over, shake, here's your treat, right? Like my daughter, I always she was wanting to eat, her mommy said, or Melissa, she's like, you get two candies a day. And then she had like her second candy and she's going to Kuma and she's working on reading. And I said, I know you want that, but you're not getting that until you finish this. And then there's your treat because you want to reward yourself. Like, do the same thing. Close new client. Yay, let's go out to dinner. And so that's where I feel like it makes a lot more sense. So just be careful out there and also ask yourself too, how are you rewarding yourself,
Hmm.
right? Even if you're an agent, right? You should reward yourself also when you close a transaction or whatever else. I mean, how cool could it be to go celebrate with your clients?
Hmm.
Hey,
Yeah.
we're celebrating
Yeah. Yeah.
your new house, and I also earned my commission, and I want to share part of that, and whatever.
The cool thing about with GFI and what space, I mean, not everybody in financial services does it, but specifically our team within GFI does it,
Yeah.
is we're so transparent that we tell them how much we make.
Wow.
Was my services enough that you think I, earned enough, for that business? And they're like, oh yeah. Or sometimes,
Mm.
like we thought you made more, like it just depends because, everybody has their own filter of what that service is worth.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, we even in the aspect of this is what I made, do you think it was worth it? Yes or no? And then it's like, hey, like, there's such a need for financial literacy and teaching people and things like that like, hey, like, how hard do you think this process was? And they're like, oh, this is really easy. I was like, do you think you could do it?
Ooh, a little bait and switch there.
Bait and switch. And they, but it's not of like, I don't recruit anybody and everybody. There's companies out there that do that. GFI is not one of those. We want to bring on people who believe in the system, like believe in the products, believe in
Mm-hmm.
the training system, believe that they're going to be able to make money, believe that they're going to make an impact in somebody else's life because
Yeah.
of the information that they got. And so by doing that, now we've grown an ecosystem of today. I think we're at like 26,000 and some change agents in GFI, but brought on three this morning. Shout out to you three.
Let's go.
But it's there's a 500,000 financial services agents that are
Mm.
needed in this country just to catch up with the amount of people that are
Wow.
in this country.
Wow.
They're either underinsured or not insured at all, or they have no financial like retirement like plans or anything like that. 68% of the country has never sat down and done a financial plan.
Yep.
It's almost 2/3 of the country that haven't done any sort of plan like that. And so if we can help them and they go help 15 others that are just like them, our impact is bigger than just helping that one person.
Yeah, which is financial literacy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, this is like where, and I understand that it's more complex than just this one equation, but I will say this is one part of where our government's fucking up. Like, at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, it's just like if there's money to be had and we're in a deficit, shit's not being balanced right. There is no financial literacy within the school system. So then if they would to maybe, I don't know, partner with GFI or a company where they can put
Mhm.
the financial literacy into the school system, then educate those that are going to go and grow up and have families and kids and all the things and start them off young. Like my daughter has a policy and we kicked her off her policy when she was like 1.
Mhm.
So she'll be able to, she has an IUL when she turns 18, she'll have a certain amount of allotment of cash that she could use and so on and so forth. And she can keep paying into it and she'll be worth millions of dollars, whatever. And when she
Mhm.
turns like 60, 65, whatever it is. And so, I mean, dude, the government could be making money off of putting this into the school system. And then it's just like, now you guys are, doing this, which is all we're doing right now is working backwards. We're just
Yeah.
working backwards to try to help. And it's like one of those things where you do have to go deeper to get anyone who's listening, viewing, or anyone that you meet to like feel comfortable to even have the conversation, which is you got to break down the barriers, which I can only imagine in the future it would just be a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be a no-brainer for anything that you just said. The financial literacy is. I almost think it's almost the number one thing that's going wrong in this country, and we're
Yes.
now we're playing for us as agents. We're playing catch up and
Yes.
having to break down the walls of what's typically out there.
Mm-hmm.
401ks, the financial advisors, the anything of that nature, the savings plans, high yield savings. Like
Yeah.
most people don't know, high yield savings only go for a certain time period
Yep.
of that high interest.
Yeah.
They think it's the whole time. So like
Mm-hmm.
I've had clients that had, oh, I have this high yield savings. Well, how long have you had it? 10 years. I'm like, you're not getting the interest rate you signed up with, right?
Yep.
So, there's just so much more that you can do once you know financial literacy.
It's fun.
It really is because
It's
you
fun,
you
dude.
you know how money's going to multiply. You know what you can leverage. You know what you can use the same dollar twice or in two different places at once, or
Yep.
however you want to put it,
Yep.
to go buy real estate,
Yes.
go buy the dream car,
Yes.
the dream GTR, go
Yes.
do whatever you want to go do, and live your life way bigger than the 9 to 5 grind, the having to work from 18 to 65. Like that doesn't have to be the norm. Like the people that we set up young are retiring at like 40, 50 years old and still have, 20, 30, 40 years, or at this point, maybe even longer
Yeah.
to continue, living and not have to worry about running out of money.
I love that, man. I love that. No, well said. And it's interesting because it is a lot of fun. I'm at like, I don't know, probably a little over 100,000 in just credit cards.
Hmm.
And I love like the 0% balance transfer, moving money around. It's
Hmm.
so much fun, dude. I'm like, and then like you get the letters in the mail. It's just like, oh yeah, refinance and take your payments down to here and yada, yada, yada. It's just
Hmm.
like, no, 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 no. There's other ways to do it. And then you see it all the time with like Mr. Burr, who's on the show, and just people that leverage credit cards to be able to do whatever it is, fix and flip, and leveraging IULs to be
Hmm.
able to pull out cash and then surrender, using it for other things and then lending it out. I mean, it is so cool, and it doesn't need to just be a 9 to 5 for you out there, right?
Yeah.
You don't just need to work your 9 to 5 and trade your time for money and just wonder
Hmm.
why other people are driving their dream cars or taking these crazy trips or doing what they're doing. Like it's not
Hmm.
super complicated. Get in the rooms with the right people, ask the right questions, DM either of us, right? And I mean, you're online always talking about what you're doing, what you're up to.
Yeah.
The people that you just like brought on to
Hmm.
GFI, you were just talking about on stories before you even got here,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
There's two brand new ones. Never been licensed. Don't come from a background from
Yeah.
it. Saw the information. Said I have to share this with the world. And said, okay, like here's the next steps. And one's from another company that just wanted something better. He knew that there was better out there,
Yeah.
and said I need a bigger opportunity and better training. And so that's where we came and play with those. But yeah, it's
Wow.
the finances can get fun, and then you add like, there's another layer of it. You can add like the credit card points and play the credit card point game, so you get free trips and all this other stuff. So
Doing it now.
exactly. So I mean, it's cool, and then like you take 400 guys out on Lake Shasta with 26 houseboats and spend 5 days or 4 days with them in the middle of nowhere, Lake Shasta, and pour into them. What other company out there pays for the boats,
Mm,
the food,
mm.
and all you have to do is figure out how to get there, and they're going to train you the whole time instead of you asking the questions.
Wow.
I don't know any other company that does that.
That's
That's wild
huge.
to me. I mean, it's I could only imagine the numbers of what it cost for the weekend, but it was well worth it and
Wow.
so cool to see. I was got fortunate enough to be like captain of the boat and everything
Nice.
from living in the Pacific Northwest. We got to drive boats all the time, so they're like, yeah, you can drive this. So
Dude, that's so sick, dude. And that's cool too that like they actually like they build a relationship. They know
Mhm.
that you can pilot the boat. It's totally fine. They know what you're going on with triplets and everything else. And
Yeah.
yeah, I can imagine the price on that because for us, we look like our whole philosophy is like, well, we can have the money, we can save the money, and we can reinvest the money. And the best way to reinvest it into your people, like what they're doing at GFI. So
Yeah.
our trip was like a little under 30 grand for like 30 people to like go to Bahal and have this. Everything was exclusively paid and the whole nine. And just the magical moments and the experiences was just so amazing. And like for the team, and then their friends are asking them questions like,
Hmm.
"Oh, so where are you staying? Oh my God, Oceanica. I was going to stay there, but it's too expensive, and this and that." And then now
Hmm.
February, we're bringing three of our team leads out here, and they're just ecstatic. Plus, they're going to bring their plus ones, so we're going to bring 5 people out here in February from the staff, and just inspire them to think so much bigger. Actually, one of the guys, Rainith, shout out Rainith, who's probably editing this podcast. You're doing an amazing job, by the way. He's like, you gave me an idea. You really like these supercars, huh? And she's like, you just like litten up my child side, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
put on my vision board to like drive a supercar. I was like, let's do it together.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Absolutely. Anybody want to come and drive an 800 horsepower drift car, you know who to hit up. But
dude. Right?
that's the fun side of my life was all racing in the background and stuff.
So you don't do
And
it anymore?
I don't. I too
What
many.
happened? You get an accident or something?
I've had too many head injuries to
Oh
where
shit.
now that if like I can do it for a day, like on a fun track day, but like competitively, it just takes too much out of me to where,
Dang.
like I'll get, for instance, like last night I was cooking pasta and I turned from the stove to the island too quickly and got dizzy. And so now it's just things
Ah.
like that. So you can't stay young the whole time, I guess, and have
Yeah.
fun. But from time to time I'll go do it or whatnot. But now I'm
Yeah.
just like, got triplets, I got a business blowing up. It's just time to just
Yeah.
hang up the steering wheel, have let somebody else have fun with that car because
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool car. It's 10 years of motorsports, knowledge poured into one car,
Wow.
and or 10 to be 10 plus years, but 10 years in drifting and then like 20 years in racing.
That's so sick.
So yeah, it was cool. I'm sad to see the car go. It's still for sale if anybody's out there and wants it, but
Damn.
it's cool.
Yeah.
I one day I probably actually get more joy out of building the cars
Yeah.
than I do driving them. So like our 9-year-old, he loves cars. I'll end up building him something at some point.
Sick.
So that'll be cool. The memories are way more than the trophies or the awards or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
The thousands and millions of dollars we spent racing and everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's cool, man. It's exciting for what the future holds, and yeah,
That's awesome. And as you get older too, like what I've realized is like the glitz and the glam and the nice things are cool,
hmm
and sharing the things are so much cooler.
so much cooler. It's helping. It's almost like helping. This is where I'm at in my business. Is if I help a family, sweet. If I help somebody else help a family, that's even cooler.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If I want, like we were talking before coming in here, it was like that's my work truck or whatever, and it's a 2012 Chevy, and I'm like, it's beat up. I don't care, but it
Yep.
makes 500 horsepower, and if I want
Yep.
to put my foot in it, I can. So
Exactly.
it's fun times, and even like I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of getting old now to where I'm like, I just want a cruiser. Like I just want a truck that like I know I'm going to get from A to B with zero issues. Not that that truck ever has any issues,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's always a chance when you make that
Mm-hmm.
kind of power.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, with the GTR, like I'm sure you've had issues and things like that, and I want the old man truck, the brown leather seats, the
Yeah.
things like that, and I just want to cruise. If I want to drive to Long Beach for the weekend and watch racing, I want to know that I'm comfortable. Maybe have back massagers. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
So it's I'm just getting old, man.
There you go. Hey, it's all good, man. That's the thing. Like, as long as you know what you want, you can have it. And I like the idea of options and experiences where you can be able to like, because every vehicle has its own experience, and so I just like to embody the opportunity of those different experiences.
Mhm,
And it's cool because like I look at like supercars or Rolls
mhm,
Royces or any of those, like look, we were talking about the TRX. So
mhm,
the Tacoma that I have. So Well, not Tacoma, 2021, only 36,000 miles. And so it's like thinking about like inspiring others, having different experiences, and just being able to eventually, like, I was talking about doing a garage collective and just like have car storage for the
Yeah.
community, but then it's also a place for entrepreneurs to come, have a
Hmm.
good time. My wife wants to have a tea company in there. Could even be like some cool like cryo and therapy
Hmm.
stuff, and then podcast room, headshot room, and so just a cool place. It's 117. You could just go and
Yeah.
like have events and like everything and just
There,
enjoy.
there's a place in Seattle, and I'll have to figure out the name. Forget what the name of it is, but it's they have something similar out
Similar.
there, and they have a brewery in there. They have a wood fire oven pizza company.
See,
They store cars in there. You can rent bays out to work on them. They do big events like before Formula Drift event in Monroe. They do like a
badass.
pre-night show there,
Yeah.
and they shut the road down, which is like in Seattle, it's a major road, so I'm surprised they still shut it down.
Wow.
But yeah, it's very cool, and I would love to see something like that out here.
We
So
need something like that.
we might need to collect on that one
Let's
a hell
talk.
of a lot more. So
Yeah, dude, let's talk. And that's what it's about, right? Collaborating with like-minded individuals. And
mhm,
even something like that, it would have to be a community thing. I don't want it just for me. I want it to be like a community thing where everyone can come together and then just have this cool spot. Because you could be out there wanting to do a podcast and like, yeah, there's companies out there that have like the podcast studio stuff and that
mhm,
type of stuff, which is cool. But your dream is like whatever, a 488 Ferrari.
mhm,
And then imagine doing a podcast when you walk into the spot, you're like, oh, podcast room's upstairs, and I get to stare at the 488 Ferrari because it's all glass, everything, and then you can see all the cars, like three layers, just
mhm,
like what, like
yeah,
so sick, dude. And like that's what it because I think there's something about energy and like the energy that's put into these cars, like the energy you put into your car. It's like
mhm,
you could feel it when
yeah,
you drive it, when you sit in it, when you start it. You just know that there's been a lot of passion, time, and attention into it,
mhm,
and that's where it's hard to get the value out of it, right? Because someone has to realize
yeah,
all of those things to be able to say, okay, it's worth
yeah.
X.
It's worth whatever someone's willing to pay, because
Exactly.
like at the time when I built that car originally, was sponsored, had help, everything else. Now I'm like, man, if somebody built this car now, it'd be like 400,000 roughly, maybe
Shit.
three to four,
Yeah.
and then the time, energy, engineering that went into it, and all that, and like the emotional connection, which you can never sell emotion, but it's hard to let go of a car like that. Like that
Yeah.
car, I got put in the hospital in 2017, which was my last like major concussion,
Oh my God.
and I had PTSD, the whole bit afterwards. And my dad was like, "You just need to build another car. Like, what do you want to go build?" And I was like, I don't know. And so I started searching and found this car in Canada at a buddy's shop up there. And he's like, yeah, you like come get it, like just get it out of here. And so we driving a car across the border from Canada, you're like, yeah, this might be a little difficult. They're like, yeah, bye. Go through,
Wow.
went straight through. It's on the trailer. They like just check, make sure no like weird leaves or whatever else,
Yeah, yeah.
bugs and stuff for the on there. And then off you went. And I spent 2.5 years building that car to the point where it rolled, and then another 2.5 years while working, to be able to build the rest of it. So
Wow.
it's like I always tell people it's the car that saved me, because like I went
Wow.
from you know construction supervisor at the time, and doing a whole bunch of stuff like that, grew through that company really quickly,
Hmm.
and it was all like I lost shop space, I lost friends, I lost
Jeez.
I had to move back in my parents, that whole bit, because I lost
Hmm.
everything. So not only like PTSD, because like I was so scared to be around people and situations and things like that, that I was like, man, like I need something. And my dad was like, yep, here's 50K, like
Wow.
see how far this goes. And luckily, it was super cool to be able to pay him back with that, with like how
Yeah.
good business is. I was like, hey, Dad, here's a check for 50 grand.
Nice,
And so
dude.
that was cool. And he's like, well, where's my car? And I was like, well, let's go build it. So we'll see what that ends up being.
So you don't know what the car's yet? What it's gonna
No,
be?
I imagine it's gonna be some sort of like, knowing my dad's some sort of resto mod, like
Dope.
69 Camaro, 68 Camaro, because they sell the new bodies of those still.
Really?
Yeah, so you can buy like a stamped body of them, and the
Wow.
framework and like everything. It's
Dude,
super
with
cool.
3D printing and everything that's happening these days, it's crazy. SEMA had this 69, I think it was a 69. It was a Chevelle. I don't know if it's a
That
69.
the
Was Was it
six
68? Did you see
68.
that one that
It
they
was
built?
so
Oh
cool.
my God, dude. The
The thing.
exhaust out the side and they took out the frame rails and then they didn't get it, they gotta still work on it starting, I guess, but
Hmm.
it just looked just, and that's one of my dreams too, is to have like a Resco mod, old
Hmm.
school, because they never came back with a Chevelle.
Yeah.
So to do a Chevelle and then bring it back, like I used to have a 72, I was like, that'd be super sick, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I never got into racing like you, man. I had the quarter midget thing, got into that for a little bit, and then I grew out. And it was my cousin, my brother, and I was the only one that really wanted to do it. So that was it for me. But so now I'm kind of like I'm like the green pea here. So I want to get the GTR in the track.
Yeah.
I want to get out. I probably won't do anything crazy like go professional or really do anything like maybe build a little drift car, have some fun with that, because there's the car shows, Sling and
Hmm.
Smoke, and go out and do the drifting,
Yeah.
which is fun, and go out and just a track and just have some fun, and not to worry about getting pulled over and freaking all that
Hmm.
crap on the streets.
Takeover stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I don't get it. Like it's dangerous for you. It's dangerous for everybody else. Like
no.
just go home.
Yes.
Go to the track,
Go
be
to the track.
safe. It's like I think the track here is like $175 for like 8 hours.
Yeah,
Like I'll pay $175 to go be on the track and know that I'm not going to hit anybody else. I'm somewhat safe in my own vehicle, but if I do something that was wrong, it's my own fault.
yep.
Like it's just smarter like that. So be smart. Don't do it on the street.
Cheaper than a ticket.
It is way cheaper than a ticket. Trust me. Been there, done that.
Yeah,
My teenage years were spent street racing and
yeah.
making a lot of money that way. But yeah,
That's sick,
don't
dude.
don't don't go that route. If you're going to go way outside of town,
Yeah,
go back roads, go do something where nobody's going to be at, and that you can see the entire road.
exactly. Be smart. I love that. They're
Hmm.
super smart. That's where I like the party tricks, like slinging
Hmm.
flames out the back and doing the
Yeah,
flame. I was doing that yesterday, so that way you don't go. No one's going crazy, driving stupid. Just a little bit of flames out the
yeah,
back, taking some videos.
yeah.
Little quick speed up, go back down. Just be cordial and smart. So me and a couple of my guys, actually, I got a buddy of mine that just got the Evo. So 2022 Lamborghini Evo from Sheepy Race Twin Turbo. He just
Mm.
picked it up like this week.
Hmm.
And so him and then my other buddy picked up a 2010 GTR, fully built motor. Guy spent 75,000 on the motor. He got the car for 85.
What?
Motor and
What
trans
a
built.
steal!
What a steal, dude. The guy, I don't know, he just like couldn't wait it out, wanted money
Right.
back. He was just like he blew the motor, all ego, spent 75,000 building it up. I think it was like 12 to the wheels turned down, and it can go up to like 18, no problem. And I'm like, what the hell? And the guy, he's like, I don't know what I have. He's like asking me all these questions and all that type of stuff. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. These
Yeah.
guys own like nail salons and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. And this one guy, he's just like, man, try to get him on the show. Shout out. I don't know if he'll be listening to this, but he's like, nah, my life's like a movie. I'm good. He's making
Hmm.
like 600,000 off of Cardano,
Hmm.
250,000 off the Super Bowl, just crazy stuff, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get to that level, it's a different story.
Oh yeah, 34, 35 Lambo,
Yeah.
Tesla, just bought a 1.9 house.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
We'll
super sick.
we'll all be there.
We will,
We
bro.
will be. I mean,
That's
it's 20. I told my wife in 2030 we're gonna go look at houses and not give one care about what the price is. We're just gonna go buy it.
just go get it.
Hmm.
And you can too.
Yeah.
You can too. And this is all just, hey, just put it out there.
Hmm.
And before you know it, man, you hold on to that vibe of just like the feeling of what that would feel like to just be like, boom.
And even if you don't know the way that you're gonna get there, go to open houses.
Yeah.
Go to an open house in like $1 million plus house
Mm-hmm.
and just dream. Be like, man, I'm gonna own something like this, and then just figure it out from there.
Yeah.
I mean, we went and toured. There's a house here in Arizona that's for a $24 million house. They got
Wow.
like a basketball court inside. They got go karts. They got all sorts of different things.
I think I saw that one.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we went and toured it, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna buy or build something like this one day.
That's
Just one
exactly
day.
what I want.
So it was total man cave, kids paradise
Yeah.
house, but the house itself was just gorgeous, man. So if you can dream it, it can happen.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the lighting people up,
Hmm.
because when you light someone up like that and there's just like, whoa, like my father's coming out for Thanksgiving, he's never been here yet,
Hmm.
and he comes in and out of whatever, doing drugs, but he was a mechanic and
Hmm.
he means well, and a lot of just backyard mechanic garage work stuff.
Hmm.
And my mother stepmother, I was the mother-in-law, but stepmother, she's never came either.
No.
And my sister finally was like, I'm coming for Thanksgiving. And my dad has to go where Lisa goes. My stepmom and Lisa and my dad, they're at the hip. They can't go away from each other. But
Mhm.
a little tumultuous there as far as that relationship's concerned.
Yeah.
So it's the first time he's been here. And my sister's like, they're going to trip out about your house. Because like they live in like, God bless, doesn't matter where you live, totally fine.
Yeah.
Just a trailer home, which is fine. And I'm the first person in my family to do anything like this. So like we don't come from entrepreneurs, nothing. Like, so the family's just like, what is going on? What are you doing? Like, how does it work? Like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
So it's just, but it's a blessing to like light people up and then share that,
It reminds me of Ed Mylett's Power One More book.
Yeah.
So that was the book that changed my life as far as like, must be like the one in the family that just changes everything.
Yeah.
So and
Go just
you're literally doing that right now. So
no, I didn't even think about that, but no, I appreciate that. And that's what it is. Just do something that like no one else is doing and get to a point where you can imagine what you imagine in real life. It doesn't have to be just in a dream,
yeah.
And so that's where it's like, just having fun with what we have here to start. And this is like first.
Gorgeous house, man.
I appreciate you.
I got to tour it before we started, and
yeah,
it's super cool. The stuff that the vortex thing on the stairs that your wife did, like that, like I'm taking notes, man.
Details, bro.
Yeah.
You don't even. It's crazy. This is the ugliest house in the nicest block. Got it for 441.
Yeah.
3,300 square foot. Could be up to 7 bedrooms, but right now I think it's the way it's set up. It's like 5, and it's three bath and 10,000 foot lot, and it's just like it was blank slate. So like we'll do whatever we want. And so these houses back here, they're custom in the gated community, and we'll do a little bit more touring, walk around a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, y'all don't have to have anything fancy to make something look really cool and have fun with it, right? This is just 4 square. This is just this 4 square box here.
Yeah.
But you could turn it into whatever and just have some fun with it. The next thing is the French door, so I can open this thing up here. But to inspire people, man, think outside the box, go bigger than what you're doing. This has been phenomenal, dude.
This is awesome. We definitely need to do this again.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll do it like a yearly check-in with everybody.
We could do a yearly check-in, or we might just get you on the next podcast, the Lift Off Experience podcast, because this is more. So you guys got a little glimpse on the back end because talking about cars, personal stuff. That's more on the other show because like this is more like financial literacy, tech, real estate, right?
You got it all today, so
you got a little bit of you did. And so actually, I have 2 signs that go here. I just took the other one down. This is the first time I put this one up with the new setup.
Very cool.
And yeah, so that show is 2 hours long, and we just go deep into like where'd you have liftoff personally, professionally, and spiritually, and have just some fun. So if you want to see that, we can film podcast number 2 because this is almost a segue into it.
Yeah,
we're doing a little.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah,
let us know if you want us back on.
Yeah, we'll do it again. 2-hour show, lift off experience, and dude, this has been amazing. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And all of you, man, hope you found some value. Hit this man up. If you want to, either, I don't know, see about changing your career.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Finance is better. Adding value to your current business.
Yeah.
Let me know. If there's a will, there's a way, and we'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah. Want a race car? I don't know.
Never know.
Never know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and it is our intention for you to take things for our show to take what we take on our show to apply to your business, have more massive success, if I can get that out there. And we'll see you all on the next one.
Yeah.